Tuesdays. I was forgetting what day of the week it is for a second. I hope that you guys are having a great day. Why don't you drop a comment with some emojis that represent either what you're feeling today, what's going on in your life, and also make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps support us in getting our message out and our content out to more people, and hopefully you will subscribe and like the video if you find the information that I put out informative or helpful in any way. So I don't have a lot of time on the live today, so we're going to jump right into the topic, which is ADUs in Clark County. And you might be wondering, well, what are ADUs? So an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, which can take the form, or can take many different forms. So you have a if you think about the word, it's a dwelling unit, so it has to have a like living space, kitchen, sanitation, meaning like a bathroom, to count. And it could be a converted garage. I don't really recommend that. You don't want to. Hey Matt, how's it going? How are you guys doing? I still need to come by and see your new fireplace. I'm dying to see what you guys did with it. And actually, this is right up your alley since you guys are planning on building an office, which is a little bit different. Awesome over here. Glad to hear it. So an ADU could be a converted garage. It could be a converted basement. It could be an addition to an existing property, or it could be an independent structure, like a freestanding structure. Make sure you guys like the video so I don't have to keep reminding you and being annoying about it, but it really does help. And if you're here, I'm assuming it's because you enjoy the channel, and yeah, it makes a big difference for me, so thank you. So yeah, you can add it on. Thank you guys. You can add it on to an existing structure. So if this is something that you're looking for, let's say you want multi-gen living, which is really, really popular these days, but also very difficult to find. I've had some people reach out to me that say that they, want to buy a piece of land and put like a main house and have a bunch of yurts or like mini cottages for Airbnb. And Clark County really won't allow you to do that. They're pretty restrictive, and with good reason, in maintaining the residential nature of neighborhoods. So, you might be thinking that this could be either used for an office, used for rental options if you want to create more steady stream of income, kind of house hack. You could move into the ADU and rent the main house. You could rent out rooms in your house. There's a lot of different things you can do to accomplish either multi-gen living or to house hack or create a investment in your primary home. So this is something that is going, I think, to become more and more popular in Clark County over the next 5 to 10 years, because we have a huge housing shortage in terms of primary homes that people want to buy and own, and also in terms of rentals. Our rental market is very tight. And so ADUs could be a great solution moving forward for people who are looking to have more space and more living space, and also space that is separate, because maybe you want to move your parents in, your aging parents, or you want to move in your adult children so that they can get stabilized in their life. Everyone knows that that's harder and harder to do for young people, especially with wages and inflation. So I just have a lot of clients that are looking to invest and increase their property value, and this is one way that you can do it. The restrictions are going to be different if you are looking in cities. So some cities, like Vancouver, for instance, have their own codes when it comes to ADUs. And then you also have Clark County's code, which is going to cover all of the unincorporated areas and some of the cities if they don't already have their own ADU code. So it depends on what part of Southwest Washington and Clark County that you're looking at. But yeah, I think this is a great way to build passive income. Multi-gen homes definitely command a premium. So if you're looking at ways to increase your resale value in the long term, I think that this would also be a good option to pursue. You can always text me, by the way, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, or even rent to own now. in the Pacific Northwest, you can shoot me a text at 360-818-4438. So the main thing that you're going to want to know is it's difficult to build two primary residences on one property. I do have clients that bought an acre they bought a property that was 1 acre, and as part of their purchase, they received 2 parcels to create that acre. So they can build a second home on their property because they have those 2 parcels. But on one parcel of land, you can only have one main house. And the maximum for most people who are going to be looking at more traditional homes, like not rural homes, like traditional suburban homes, the maximum square footage is going to be 800 square feet or 40% of the main house, whichever is less. So let's say that you have a 1,500 square foot house and you want to build an ADU on it. 40% of that is 600 square feet. So it could be 600 square feet or 800 square feet in this case, whichever is less. So 600 would be your max to be able to build an ADU. And you could do that in a variety of ways. If you know that you want to have a basement unit, we can be looking for properties that have walkout basements. There are certain parts of town that are easier to find walkout basements than others. And there are a few like fully below grade basements around town, but they're a little bit harder to find. You're going to find them in more of the older homes, say like around the 50s and stuff, in the 70s. It's just not as common. We also have a very high water table, which is probably why full below grade basements are not extremely popular. Plus they're very dark. Like they're not really in style these days. So walkout basements are great, or they're also called daylight basements. So those are great to convert. Like I said before, I would not recommend converting your garage because that space is very useful and valuable when it comes to the resale of your home. Jared's in the other room. He can hear me. He said amen. Did you guys catch that? He is a garage loving man. So plus it rains. Like why wouldn't you want to park in your garage and bring your groceries in dryness versus having to park outside and bring them in the rain, especially this time of year. It's winter if you are watching this in the future. So doing a conversion of the existing property is going to be the most cost efficient way to do it. One of the things you would have to add is an exterior entry. So in order for it to be considered an ADU, it can't have the same entry as the main house, meaning like going through the front door. It would have to have its own exterior entry. But that space is already existing. Or if you have an unfinished basement, that's something that you could do as well, which is why the walkout basements and the daylight basements are so useful for that purpose, because they are, in the back of the house, you have to have a sloped lot in order to make that possible. And so in the back of the house, you're at grade, you're at the ground level. So it's easier than if you have a full underground basement. You would have to dig out a walkway to put stairs, put the exterior door off the back of the house. It's not that convenient. So some of those areas of towns you'd probably want to be looking would be Battleground, Camas, Ridgefield. Certain parts of Vancouver have the hills that would require it, like closer to the river. For instance, because coming off the river, we have an increase in elevation. So those are some things that you're going to want to look out for if you're looking for multi-gen living and you're looking at these properties, and you might say, well, it's difficult to find properties that have existing multi-gen options. So I'm going to buy a property and add a multi-gen option. Now, if you are like a lot of my clients and don't want to do shared walls and shared spaces with their family members, they need like their own contained space, then a detached ADU is a great route to go. The cost is significantly higher and the permitting process is pretty extensive. But if that's something that you want to do, I would recommend booking a Zoom with me. My Zoom link is in the description below, and we can talk more about what your needs are, what your budget is, just for the primary home, and then also to add the ADU and what your timeline might be like, because there's different strategies depending on timeline, budget for your main house, like how much can you get pre-approved for, and then how you plan on financing the ADU. So those are all things that we can discuss in the process of your purchase. So I wanted to kind of introduce this concept to you guys because around here in Southwest Washington in the real estate market, ADUs are very well known, but they're not necessarily, like, that term ADU is not necessarily a nationwide term or abbreviation that people are familiar with. So I kind of wanted to just hop on really quick, give you a taste of what an ADU is. So if you haven't picked up, AKA a guest house, a granny flat, a casita, a mother-in-law suite, what are the other terms for it? You know, just additional separate living spaces could be multi-gen or it could be income producing for you. So if you want to discuss this more, please reach out to me. This was a preview of a full video that we're going to do to break down more of what it will take to make this happen. So if you guys are interested in this topic and you want us to go ahead and create that full video, it'll be a produced video with imagery. Obviously when I'm live, I can't, I'm on my phone, so I can't share my screen or, reference articles or show you the sections of the code that cover it so you can go look it up yourself, or how to look up the zoning. All those things I'd be happy to go into in a fully produced video. So like this video, let me know if you want it, and drop comments below. Did you have something to add, dear?
I was just thinking maybe even a whole playlist. Me?
Yeah, show off your nice, I call this retro. Is this a retro style striped shirt? Let me know.
My wife doesn't know when she's insulting someone, so
Why
if you're ever in a
insulting?
conversation with her and she says something that you find kind of odd or kind of scratch your head and you're like, was that an insult or a compliment? She just doesn't know any better, bless her heart.
Wait, but why is that?
To me, retro is like old or obsolete or out of style or...
No, it's like it's...
Well, what's retro about?
Well,
let me know in the
instance,
comments.
Like the kids,
what's
like
retro?
Gen Z loves 90s style. I think that most of the like teenagers that I see, they dress very like retro and 90s because that's what's in. I don't think that
So what's retro about this?
It has a 70s-esque vibe to me.
Unbelievable.
I like it. What's wrong with
you guys see what I deal with here.
Off camera.
Anyway, no, great video.
That's the fun about being live and unscripted, isn't it?
For some people.
So I'm sorry, what were you saying about ADUs?
Well, just did you talk about the investment side to it, the investment aspect?
A little bit, that it could be
okay, and I know we're going to talk about this if you guys want in more of a full featured video, but that's the part for me gets me excited because it allows even a regular quote unquote homeowner. Hey, look at that! Oh, silky.
This is the best investment of 2022.
Oh, you like it now, huh?
I do like it.
I had to force a what's it called? Standing desk?
Standing desk.
I had to force a motorized standing desk on this woman. So, but for me, the investment aspect and opportunity of turning your personal home into an income producing vehicle without having to go out and become an investor, to me, that has a lot of appeal. Mm-hmm. And I think
so
it
you
allows...
mean because there's no risk of like having to get a whole separate entity, like you can just put it on your existing property, so it's a lower barrier to entry.
Much lower barrier, more control for you, the homeowner, more hands-on. It's right there on your property. It eliminates some of the risk, but it still delivers a lot of income potential. And I think going into this next, whatever we're going into, cash flow is king. So I like it for that reason. But I was thinking because the subject can be as simple or as elaborate as we make it, meaning, there's phases to ADU. Like you don't just snap your fingers and, so we can maybe even do a playlist, from what's an ideal property. Maybe you could tour that. My mind, wheels are spinning. Stay on your toes. No.
My calves are getting sore.
There you go.
I need to support. I could use my chair.
Yeah, that was it. But great video as usual.
Okay. All right, guys.
We'll see you guys. Have a great week. Ciao.
No, short.